Welcome to Azure Infinitum Podcast. This is your host, Hikaru Kazushime, also known as Reika Fuji-shima around the Azureverse. And today, it's just me going over some updates throughout the community and community news that we have here, starting with Azure community-specific news. Duel Tournament 27 is coming up soon. That's our official FF14 Duel Tournament taking place in Final Fantasy XIV online, taking place on May 25th. Challengers from across Eorzea throughout the Azure community and Azure Alliance will come and face each other at the Wolves Den Pier for the coveted Infinitum Championship. Tournament victor will take the prize pot, as well as a title shot for the Infinitum Championship. Taking place on May 25th at 8 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. CST, 5 p.m. PST. All you got to do to show up is come by the Wolves Den Pier and just simply /random. That'll give you a bracket entry, and we'll take the numbers from the randoms and put them in our bracket system and announce each fight as we go. Each fight's going to be a best of three. Championship fight will be best of 5, as well as the tournament final. Following the launch of the upcoming patch in FF14, we're going to be having the field op that's coming out. Crescent Isle. This is the Dawn Trail equivalent of the Eureka Bosja-like content that has the relics for the first step of relics, I should say. It's coming in the next patch, the next sub-patch. The next major patch is a few months away. But until then, we will have the Crescent Isle, and we will continue to have a event that we're going to be hosting on Fridays. There'll be a primetime slot somewhere between 5 and 6. This is TBA to be announced, so look forward to that. We're going to be having at least one, maybe two, Crescent Isle field op events in our community in FF14. Over in Crescent Isle, we'll be collecting knowledge, leveling these like special phantom jobs. Some of the jobs are unique things, as well as some old favorites. Things like Cannoneer and Time Mage, which we haven't seen. I don't believe we've seen that in an MMO. So it's going to be very interesting to see that. There's challenges within Crescent Isle. Things like the critical engagements of Bosja and the NM trains of Eureka are something that a lot of us are expecting to see again, and a little bit of what the devs have touched on in previous live streams. We're pretty excited for this field op to come. It's been a while since Azure has or the game itself, Final Fantasy XIV, has been able to engage in a brand new field op since the dev team skipped Endwalker, leaving Endwalker's relics to the Hildebrand questline and mostly just turning in for tomes. Now we return to full-scale field op content, large scale, I should say, 72-man instances. It's going to be a blast. Previously, Azure ran 2 different 16-month campaigns between the release of Eureka during Stormblood's expansion, as well as the Bosja content during the Shadowbringers expansion. So it's going to be awesome for us to see that play out in current times with current content. Also on the horizon is the return for the Azure Wardens Destiny 2 event schedule. It's been on pause for a couple months. We've had a Wing Commander change and some other things. So we announced on the last episode that Cynic would be taking up the mantle of Wing Commander for the Azure Destiny 2 Azure Wardens, and we'll be hosting at least a couple of clan nights again, like we did previously. And then we'll kind of figure out, what works, what doesn't work. We kind of have to play around with it a bit. And then we'll see, kind of where we're at as a clan and who's available when. We know that the event schedule doesn't always fit everybody, but we do our best to fit the majority and find something fun to do for the clan to do together. As we talked about on the last podcast, there's a lot of Destiny 2 news going around this year with the upcoming 2 expansions through Year of Prophecy, the overall expansion, and quite a bit of seasonal content. Right now, we're finishing up the Heresy stuff, so we're looking forward to what's coming ahead. It's a perfect time to get our clan in gear and get those events rolling again. Yep. And around the gaming world right now, we've seen the release of Doom: The Dark Ages, which came to Game Pass on May 15th. It's a bit of a different take on the Doom gameplay when we see fast, action-packed, acrobatic gameplay. The beginning is a little slow, but it builds up. It's quite a nice build-up with the arsenal and guns that you get along the way. So I've heard from different people that, as they build up through the game, things kind of get a little faster paced and you get a little bit of a bigger arsenal as you go. I've been wanting to get into this one myself, so at some point I'll take a seat and kick back and just slay some forces of evil for a bit and enjoy the gun gameplay that Doom is very famous for, and it looks fantastic. And in other news, the 2025 Video Game Hall of Fame inductees featuring GoldenEye 007, Defender, Quake, and Tamagotchi, and a number of other ones recently got announced. I find that very fitting. I think that those all definitely deserve to be in the Video Game Hall of Fame. GoldenEye 007, growing up, was a huge favorite of mine. I went through a secret agent phase where I was just obsessed with everything James Bond and secret agent related. Also loved Mission Impossible and another number of other movies that were kind of like those. The 007 game series is almost my favorite, but GoldenEye was the best, and I love the movie too. Brosnan, you just can't replace Pierce Brosnan. Personally, he's my favorite Bond. I know recently we were talking to VC. We had a cool Bond chat recently. We were talking about favorite Bonds. Let us know who your favorite Bond, if you're a James Bond fan. Let us know who your favorite Bond was in the comments below. And I feel like Brosnan was my favorite, and GoldenEye was such a hit. And you definitely couldn't beat side-scrolling couch multiplayer back in the day, just kicking it with your friends, grabbing an N64 controller and slapping each other with the slappers only setting. And just a huge hand, just coming up on the screen, just slapping each other to death with the nice chunky slap sounds. And Defender, Defender's another game along with Quake that I think is really fitting. And Tamagotchi is like, it's a play on words. Tamago means egg in Japanese, and Tomodachi is friends. So there's technically like egg friends is really the translation of Tamagotchi, and or Tamagotchi. Yeah, and if you notice, if you've ever seen them, they're these little egg-shaped little keychain things that a lot of kids, especially in the 90s, would carry around, and they have a little pet in their pocket. Early 2000s, they were really popular as well. Then too, of course, since then the brand has evolved tremendously in many different directions, different ways to have your little egg pet friends. And I think when we really look back and we look at that, we're like, oh, this is an electronic game. So definitely deserving of the 2025 Video Game Hall of Fame. These are inductees as well, so they're going into the Hall of Fame. There is a list of more. But those are listening, please check them out. Let us know what you think. I think this is a really solid list this year. This is something that we normally spend a lot of time talking about, but I thought that was pretty interesting to mention. And I can't imagine GoldenEye at this point not being recognized as one of the most historic games of all time. Along with the others, you got Quake, excellent shooter. It's just a no-brainer. Fortnite returns to iOS. This has been a really big thing. I'm not a huge Fortnite fan myself, but following the legal war that they've had with Apple for so long, starting some years ago, it was an app that got taken off for Fortnite from the Apple Store, and after all this time, it's now back. So that's kind of been making waves in the gaming world recently. But there's a lot more that has too, especially that leaked Xbox Rogue handheld. Man, there's a lot of excitement for that. Going forward, Xbox is becoming a brand that can basically be on anything. Looking at PC, phones, and more, with Asus being the technology that they want to go forward with. Like currently, they have the Asus Rogue, rather, and it has Game Pass on it. So it's kind of nice to have Game Pass on a handheld or a handheld device. These things are basically like mini computers, so that's really cool. And going forward, they're embracing that even more. And so, there's a lot of stuff up in the air right now with Microsoft and Xbox that could happen. Ideas for a potential another console that they do want to do, it seems. If you do a little bit of research, you might find some interviews on that that took place not too long ago. They've been talking about how Asus will be their manufacturer going forward, and how they would basically be having Asus make their, or different brands make, this Xbox made by this brand or this Xbox made by that brand. But Asus Rogue with the leaked handheld, my personal thoughts on it is that I like the current Rogue Ally, or the current Rogue Ally X, a little bit more than the leaked one that was shown, because something about the handles on the side, they look kind of weird, they're kind of bubbly, and just like not really my style for handheld. I prefer things that are more like, if you've seen the Nitro deck for Switch, with the Switch in it, is really nice, or even the Steam Deck. I like that a lot more too. Even something like the PS Portal, or if you have a Razer Kishi controller on a phone. These are all different options for Game Pass. I think it's actually really amazing that you can cloud stream with Game Pass, because that technology is also getting a lot better too. And the only issue I have with the new Rogue handheld is just that it looks a little cheap. To me, it looks a little bit more like a toy than Steam Deck or even Switch does. Especially the new Switch, which is a more sleeker, mature-looking device. The new Rogue handheld kind of has it almost looks like a Mad Catz controller with a screen in the middle. This is like a cheaper-looking plastic with, colored buttons and weird bubbly things on the back that I don't know. It might just be me. It might just be me not liking it that much. But we'll see. We'll see what the final product looks like. And if you can get it in black, it'd probably be better. I haven't looked at all the specs yet, but just a fun thing to mention here on the podcast that there's a leaked Xbox Rogue handheld making its rounds around the internet. Definitely look that up and check it out and tell us what you think. Stellar Blade is coming to PC. This got announced recently. And there's been some concern given that they're using an anti-cheat thing that a lot of people don't like. This will also affect other things you can do with the game. And the company behind it is trying to ensure that the PC port will have all the specifications, excuse me, all the specifications and stuff that PC players enjoy and would like to see in their Stellar Blade PC game, as well as a number of additional costumes and other content coming for the PC release. But there is a bit of a bummer in the works going on with folks noticing that it uses a type of I think it was the anti-cheat or something like that that is keeping it from being its full potential. So we'll try to keep up to date on that and see how that goes. Stellar Blade's a huge game. They made the rounds last year. Very, very popular. It's coming from being a PlayStation exclusive on PS5, coming to PC now. So over in FF14, housing demolitions return June 6th. That means the demolitions that were started at the beginning of the year with the LA fires is now going to be ceased. And that means that if you have not logged into your house, or if you have been away from the game for a little while, if you have a house and you've been gone for more than I think it was 30 or 45 days or something like that, it's going to poof. It's going to go poof. It's going to explode, and all your items inside are going to be cast into the void, and you can only get them in if you talk to a certain NPC. So what that means is that those that have been waiting to get one, there's going to be a ton more freeing up soon. Lately, the housing market in FF14 has been really slim, with most popular servers not having very much availability at all, given even just when there's plenty of stuff open for bids, it's plenty, it's very, very small. So going forward, there's going to be a bunch of demos. That means that there's going to be more availability. And personally, I'm not a big fan of them doing that. I understand that it's a courtesy to people that may have houses that are in those areas. But looking at the size of the fires and the location and everything like that, I'm sure there had to have been somebody who has played 14 within that. But if you also think about what are the percentage values of like how many people are actually in that fire area who also have 14, who also have housing in 14, and who are also so inconvenienced that they can't log into the game or even worried about the game when they're trying to like redo their whole life setup and everything. It's just kind of a gray area where all these millions of people who play the game have to wait for a select few to become available again. And Square will say, well, they have the numbers and they know and everything like that, but it's just like, it seems to be something that's just more of a I don't know, like, I know there's a lot of Square Enix employees down there in LA for the American department, but it's just like, I don't know if 6 months, it's been 6 months, and 6 months is a very long time for millions of people to have to wait for a very basic feature in an MMORPG, which is already extremely convoluted, frustrating, and kind of messed up in the first place. So, because everybody knows the housing system is the worst housing system that most people have ever seen in a MMO. I love the fact that there are static neighborhoods. I love the fact that I can see my friends or neighbor's house from across the ward and all this stuff. And they've added more wards over the years and subdivisions and everything else that they can possibly do to bend over backwards to please the community. However, at the same time, this has kind of presented a bit of a headache for people who want to own housing. There are millions of players that will never know what it's like to decorate in the game when the game gives them decorations all the time for apartments or places that if they know somebody they might be able to share. You can state share, but it's very not likely that most people who play this game will ever experience the housing system. So for them to also have that and then pause for 6 months on the auto demolitions, which makes all the bidding unavailable for new plots, because remember, there's a finite amount of these things. There's only so many houses per housing ward, per housing zone, and there's only a few housing zones. So there's like 5 housing zones and like 30 houses per ward and so many wards, right? That's still nothing compared to the 30 million people or whatever that play FF14. So it's just like, I did the math before. It was somewhere in the, I don't know, this could be wrong, but I remember it being like 20,000 or something available plots for a game with 25 million people or something like that. That's not 100% accurate, but it's something like that. It's so small, like it's an insanely small number compared to the amount of people that are actually playing the game. So, I don't feel bad for demolitions to return. I'm glad they are. It gives more people a chance. Do I think the demolitions ran way too long? Yes. Do I think they should have them at all? No, I don't think they should have them at all. I think they shouldn't pause it. They should never pause for demolitions. Because it's like most people, like I said, they're going to be rebuilding their life. They're not going to be worried about this. It might be nice for that one person who lost everything and then they find out, oh, my house is in FF14 still there. Okay, that's nice, but the cost was that millions of people had to wait and be frustrated, and potentially even I've seen people leave the game over it because it was so disheartening. How could this dev team that loves the players so much have a housing system this rough? And I know they probably have heard the complaints a million times front and back, and and it's just it's not something that they can fix overnight either. It's something that is not an easy fix, because when they started the game, I remember they mentioning that they did not anticipate the amount of people who would end up how big of a hit 14 was going to be, how many people would actually join this game. And so it's become a very difficult topic, and probably the only actual sort of failure, I can't say it's a complete failure, but it sort of failure of a system in 14. Everything else over the years seems to have worked or been a hit. Well, maybe not the very first diadem, but that's another story for another day. So housing demolitions return again, June 16th. And so that means pay attention to bidding and what plots might be available if you're looking for housing in the game. Now, another interesting thing that's taken place recently in the last week is there has been a recent uptick in hiring and speculation that Yoshi P has somehow secured a higher budget for future content. Well, if this is the case, then the rumors may be true that this could indicate a large staff turnover or expanding their resources for future content, potentially leading to optimistic outcomes for things to come. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. It's possible with the staff, if it's a staff turnover, then it could be, you know, a number of things. It could be just the fact that, you know, going into the next phase, they want certain people for certain things, or maybe they want to get rid of certain people because of certain things. Dawn Trail was extremely controversial. The content that's come since its release has been generally well received. But going forward, you know, Yoshi P, he's pretty serious about this. He doesn't want this to ever turn into something that could be, oh, well, that game was great until this happened. You know, I think if there's even a smidge of dissatisfaction that's large enough in the community for them to notice, I think he's going to pull out all his guns and, you know, blow us away with the next piece of content. And to do that, he's going to need a bigger budget. I really believe so. They've been doing a do more with less mentality for way too long. And they're a huge company. They can do more than this. There's been a million videos on how Square could be doing things better. We talked in the last episode a little bit about, I think we talked a little bit about Dawn Trail and some of our theories for how that story could have developed a different way. You know, and it's been talked about forever. It's almost like beating a dead horse at this point, due to, you know, writing and certain decisions made for the story and stuff like that. But I could see Yoshi doing that. I could see him pulling off a move where he gets a higher budget. Most of the time, the shareholders usually have a big say, and the board of directors at Square also tend to give Yoshi what he wants usually. I even remember the last president, Matsuda, saying, if it's for you, then sure, anything. You know, that was something that Matsuda had said a while back, before the new president took over. And the new president is very fond of 14. The new president of Square, he's a younger guy, and his wife plays 14, and him and Yoshi it's kind of funny to see, like, Yoshi's almost like his senpai, but he's the president. So potentially optimistic outcomes for future content. That would be like them being able to spend more on bigger effects, bigger battles, bigger areas, better graphics, all kinds of stuff going forward for what's to come. So that's all going to be firepower in Yoshi P's canon of awesome if he's going to really make a big hit following Dawn Trail, which I feel like that's right up his alley. So interesting to see recent uptick in hiring. So that could mean a lot of things, but it's usually good. It's usually good, in my opinion. Well, also in FF14, the Make It Rain campaign runs May 19th to June 11th. What that entails is basically the Golden Saucer has a huge percentage of bonus MGP that everybody who does stuff at the Golden Saucer gets. So spend time at the Saucer, whether it's Triple Triad, Gates, or other stuff, play Mahjong, whatever you want, you're going to be getting extra MGP. There's also going to be a little quest for cosmetic or something, and let me see, I actually don't have a note on what that was. I know it's on the website, but here in our community, Azure will also be hosting an MGP buff, so throughout that campaign period, we're going to try to put as much grade 3 MGP buffs and regular grade 2 MGP buffs as possible, at least one a day. At least one of those buffs a day will be up through that campaign period. That's May 19th through June 11th. Make It Rain campaign. Well, moving on to some Azure Wing topics. In Destiny 2, as we mentioned earlier, the Year of Prophecy roadmap has been released, showing us that non-vaulted content will be coming in future seasons. That's pretty nice, given that so far, a lot of the seasons, aka patch cycles, the equivalent of FF14's patches, which are like chapters in between the major expansions, have all come and gone. When they're over, they're gone from the game forever and put into the game's lore. A lot of folks that enjoy story like me, or don't want to spend a million years looking at videos about, catching up on lore, don't really want to spend that time doing that, and it's actually made a lot of people dislike Destiny over it, even if they continue to play it. So going forward, non-vaulted content is very welcome. Year of Prophecy roadmap also includes the 2 expansions that are coming, and everything that's in between with the non-vaulted content I just mentioned. Currently, Rite of the Nine is the dungeon that's going on right now. There was a little bit of controversy surrounding that, just the fact that the way it was released and some of the things that people have been able to do with it. You know, it came on pretty fast, and it's only around for a little bit until we get into that next the next thing. I think it's temporary. Is it temporary? You know what? I'm not sure. Rite of the Nine's a pretty big thing right now. That's a content that a lot of us are running here in Azure. Our wardens are some of them are gearing up together to go do that dungeon, and that content surrounding the end of the Act 3 of Heresy that's currently live right now. So I can imagine us getting active in our upcoming new clan nights, taking on some of that content, as well as if you're out there and you're listening to this and you'd like to get involved or play Destiny with, excuse me. If you're out there and you're listening and you'd like to get involved and play Destiny with us, you are more than welcome to let us know what you need as well, and we'll try to get through some of that content with you. Over in Guild Wars 2, the final Janther Wilds update is coming out in June. Expansion 6 is to be revealed over the summer and has been pushed back to from August to October. So the August release has been pushed to October. There's no name yet for what Expansion 6 of Guild Wars 2 will be, but we do know the final Janther Wilds update is coming in June. A lot of players online have expressed that the final Wilds update in June is a little bit of a wait from June to October for what Guild Wars players are used to. But it's sure to be a hit, given that ArenaNet has put a lot of effort into doing these big yearly expansions for the last couple of years. Kind of excited to see what region of the world it's going to take place in and what that content's going to have. Maybe, you know, we'll get a glimpse of the story soon in a trailer over the summer, but there will be more updated over the summer as Janther Wilds comes to a close. And over in Star Wars: The Old Republic, patch 7.7 is coming late May or early June. We don't know. The date is still to be announced. This will bring 2 new story updates, continuing Legacy of the Sith and focusing on Darth Malgus. I know the team at Broadsword, they have been doing quite a bit of work ever since the game came over from EA, and it's definitely alive and well. There's a new Eras window coming. That's a new UI element that's made for categorizing prior and current content to help track progress across characters more easily. So that means, you know, oh, I'm in this expansion, I can pull this window up and be like, okay, this is where I'm at, and this is where I need to go. I can kind of see like which part of the you know, the storyline I'm at. That's kind of nice, actually. You know, nice, a little bit more than the regular quest tracker. There's continued graphics updates planned for this game as well. Many races and added customization is on the way. I believe 7.7 will also include the new PvP season and something called dynamic encounters that they talked about for a while now. New type of encounter out in the world that can kind of have on its own. I think I don't know if it's like the fate system in Final Fantasy XIV or something more. That's something I personally haven't looked into too much, what dynamic encounters are. Rewards, events, and cartel market items are all planned for 7.7.7. So the 7.7 update in SOTOR is a pretty good sized patch. It's coming, and like I said, this is late May, and right now we're kind of already in we're already in the middle of May, so that's going to be either real soon or slightly soon in early June. Over in the Azure Infinitum SOTOR wing, we've been keeping the buffs running, keeping invasion bonuses up, and continuing to build our guild bank and welcome those in that want to join us over in SOTOR. We've got about 100 people that play together over there, and things are going pretty well. I'd say since we got our flagship and some of the strongholds, we've had a lot of fun, and just seeing, you know, more and more people from the other wings of Azure and different parts of our community come together, and that content is also really fun to see in a galaxy far, far away. And over in Monster Hunter Wilds, as of today, actually, we had our our most recent Huntathon earlier today. So I'm recording this on a Sunday. Huntathon, we get together as a clan. We slay as many monsters that people need as possible. Usually when there's a new event quest or something special, we'll also target that and go after that, as well as farming needs and kind of get an idea of who needs what while we're grouping. Arc-Tempered Raid Dao or Raid Da event is still going on right now as of this recording. And in the near future, with more event quests, seasonals, and more, we're also looking forward to the late May Capcom collab. That could be announced any day now. Details are very scarce at this time, but rumor has it that it's going to include some cosmetics and a mini event. What kind of Capcom collab will it be? Will it be based around a specific famous Capcom series, something like Street Fighter, Devil May Cry, or another franchise within Capcom? Or maybe it'll be a mix of things. We'll see. Personally, I'd like some Mega Man stuff. But also, given the fact that the Devil May Cry Netflix show came out not too long ago, that'd also be pretty exciting to see some stuff like that in Monster Hunter Wilds. Way out in the verse, in Star Citizen, this is Invictus Week. Invictus Week that began on May 15th. This is the week where the game is free to play, and all the ships in the game that they feature at the Military Expo that's actually at a convention in the game are flyable and tryable. Our Azure Legion Star Citizen wing had its first ever Frontier Fridays, where we got together on a 7-man craft, went out with some turrets manned and an excellent pilot. We flew across some planetary systems and shot down some enemies, and it's very interesting. It's something that you got to kind of be like a coordinated crew when you crew a ship like that. Some of the big capitals feel really good to fly, even some of the smaller fighters, depending on what your style is. Personally, I got myself a mining ship, and I was excited when I saw the big beam that you shoot at rocks, firing a Kamehameha beam at minerals kind of excites me a bit. I don't know why. I do like gathering in games and stuff too. So Azure Legion is very young, but it is listed on our wing pages on the website. And we also have Discord support roles and Star Citizen stuff going on in Discord now. So it's very fun to see that game develop. With Invictus Week, a lot of people are trying out the game, seeing how they like it, joining us on little missions and contracts. And recently the newest patch that they did for that added 60 new missions, hairstyles, locations, new animals, ships, weapons, and gameplay tweaks. So there's quite a bit going on over there. As our wings develop and we head towards future content, things like Destiny's expansions and Elder Scrolls Online's Content Pass, as well as future FF14 patches, the field op that's incoming, and more, we look forward to all the fun that we'll be sharing together here in Azure Infinitum. This was a shorter episode of our podcast. Our other hosts that are normally on the show were very busy today, or we're having technical difficulties. So thanks for listening to me and hanging out with me and Reika here in game in FF14, just outside the FC hall on the video YouTube version. Little wave from Reika there. This has been our update and Azure Infinitum podcast, episode 32, solo KazuCast, solo Reika cast. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.